angle. So I'll just touch briefly on something I thought I should share, i.e. coverage status, and then also industry focus, and then enabling. What are we enabling? So beyond just connecting people, what do we intend to do with the connectivity? Because you can be online for nothing, and you can be online for something. So for young people and people looking to use the internet, and then also just look at a couple of recommendations. So I just thought that I would say that for Ghana, from the MNO perspective, in terms of coverage status for 2G, 3G, 4G, i.e. as of 2018, what do they look like when you look at it on the map of Ghana? Because we are talking about connecting people. So I'm going to start from the back. I'm going to start from 4G, and if you look at Ghana, and you look at most of them are looking like medium. So medium signal strength for 4G, you're seeing it's all around the coast, Accra, Kumasi, Takrade, and then going down also a bit on this side, on the other side, and then a bit somewhere around the northern parts, some corners. That's coverage for 4G. I believe we all agree is not good enough, but definitely something has to give, and we'll talk about that in a bit. And then when we look at 3G, Kwame is here, the regulator. I can see about 4 of the regulators here, so I can't lie to you. So that's what it looks like for 3G connectivity. You see that it's pretty much better than 4G. And then also for 2G, that's how coverage looks like as at 2018. And you still believe that we've gone past 2G technologies. Now every conversation online is 5G, and if our 4G is looking like this, then it means that we need to do a lot more than we're doing right now. So that's for coverage status, and I thought that kind of puts the conversation into perspective. And then more importantly, if it's the internet, the easier way to get everybody online is definitely through the mobile phone, and that's why I've decided to share the coverage status with you. But more importantly, the other question has been, what is the focus? And there are 4 key areas I just thought I should bring into the conversation, because we definitely hit on it during the panel. So infrastructure is very key, and I know that most of the panelists are going to be hitting on infrastructure. We have really progressed, but there's still some concerns around some of the areas that I showed, and we'd like to see Ghana doing much better in the area of 4G. And then also consumer readiness, which is also slower to take place, also because of literacy levels, which is a huge concern, because you can be online, but what are you using it for? Or do you even have the interest to use it? That's the other side of the conversation. And the third thing I'll hit on is also content and services. Thankfully today, social media is getting a lot of people to get to taste what the internet feels like, but before then there was really nothing that people were doing online, but for probably a couple of people on Yahoo and checking emails. And then finally, an area I pretty much specialize in, which is affordability, which is pretty much the most key consumer barrier. A lot of people want to be on the internet, but they keep telling you that it's expensive, we can't afford it. If I buy 2 CDs and I bundle it, will finish right now, and stuff like that. I know it's going to come up, so you can throw that question to me. I have answers for you. Then the last part is, so with these focus areas, the bigger question is, what are we enabling today? Thankfully, we're seeing a lot of drive with expanding healthcare services. I know most of you have been hearing about mHealth. There's so many villages right now that because of access to mobile phone and access to some other key services, they are able to somebody's able to text somebody that somebody's about to deliver, and they can get a vehicle or a mode of transport to be able to get help. And then also there are women who are on devices that have been given to them where they contact nursing mothers or midwives and ask questions surrounding their childbirth issues and stuff like that, which has shown a lot of tremendous impact in the rural communities. Also, we've seen a lot of drive around increasing water and efficiency, water and energy efficiency. You've seen a program from Tech Ghana, which is basically a business that is one of the asset financing services where they provide you solar panels in rural communities where they don't have access to grid, and they are able to use these to power essential services in their home, and they pay through mobile money. And then also digital forms of identity. We are enabling a lot of these areas as well. Today we have programs running with pet and health registry, where now if kids are born, there's a mode through which they are registered, because in the past, really, if you are born, you are born. Nobody really knows. And then also improving productivity for farmers. There's a lot of great conversations as well. And then the last one is really what everybody really is conversant with, which is mobile money, basically mobile financial services and the impact. So in rounding up, I believe that we've done pretty much from the mobile industry side. We've done a lot. Over $6 billion dropped in the ground over the last 2 decades. We've seen that we've done pretty much well with 2G, 3G. There's a lot to be done for 4G to move into newer technologies. And then what we are enabling is what I'm just showing you. But in recommending, making a recommendation, obviously within every environment, you need a favorable environment to be able to invest. And taxation has been one of those huge areas that has impacted the industry a lot. So I usually would say that when a customer spends 1 cedi today, about 40 pesos of that 1 cedi, close to 40 pesos of that 1 cedi is going into taxes. And then other 60 is going into other operational and capital expenditure. And there are key concerns around that. And then also the fact that the more you tax, the more you decrease the appetite of the business to want to invest. And then the bigger question around policy coherence and predictability. Every business wants to be able to tell what is going to happen next year, what's going to happen the following year. So if I'm in a market where I roll out 2G, 3G, and then it's 4G, and then a group of people will say, no, don't give it to them, give it to this particular group of people. It doesn't create coherence, and because of that, it disincentivizes appetite for investment. And don't forget, we've always said Ghana is in competition with Kenya, Burkina, South Africa, all the countries around, because there are mobile operators there. So I tell this story about Airtel, and the owner shared this example when he said that I have 17 operations in Africa, and every morning when I wake up, I ask myself, who is ready for the little money you have to invest? So you might be asking for maybe 100 million for your country, but because of the triggers from your market, you get 20 because they think that it's not a viable market for them. And then also questions around spectrum, new technologies that we are seeing, and then infrastructure sharing as a policy. I think that it can be driven a lot more from the regulatory side, the policy side. And then I believe that that can also see a lot more growth in coverage. And then universal service funds also, as we have. And then finally, right-of-way concerns, a lot of fiber cuts in our markets. This year, the company budgeted an amount of money to repair cuts, but by Q1, March 2019, they have spent the full year budget to repair their cuts. And so they had to be going back to their group office to go and ask for more money. If your market is throwing such signals, it doesn't help expansion. And you've realized that what is going to be happening is that rather than expanding, you'll be fixing problems and you'll be maintaining problems. Another key thing before I end this, you see, for the challenges with the mobile industry has been that the consumer is much more smarter today, much more savvy. The demand for data is huge. So, example, in a room like this, if let's say this was a room that I rolled out infrastructure for you in the last 10 years, my expectations would be that you go online with probably maybe a mobile phone, and then you might just make a few calls and stuff like that. Now you're not making calls, you are sending mobile money, you are watching video, you're watching AFCON, you are connecting with your car, now you're connecting fridges, you're connecting shoes, everything. So the demand for connectivity is huge. So you are having to now spend more to upgrade infrastructure, even in places where you have already built infrastructure over the last period of years. And that's the challenge. And you want to always balance that with taxation and then also the remaining funds that you'll be having to be able to then roll out to places that you don't find commercially viable. So this is just to put the issues in context, and I'll wrap up and then we'll go into the panel. Thank you very much. Thank you.
need to introduce the next panel member. Where have I got this one? Dr. Ofosu, Alliance for Affordable Internet. So I'll just hand it over to you, less than 10 minutes too. They're trying to signal me that I should even finish before 1 o'clock, but that's not my 1 hour, so let's see how it goes.
Thank you very much. I think we have to make your work very easy by following your advice. Alliance for Affordable Internet was invited to throw light on the presentation it has been making on internet cost in about 60 low middle income countries, Ghana inclusive. So the aim of the FRI is to ensure that it will impact on policy and regulatory frameworks in countries where FRI operates, so that the affordability of internet can be achieved. The document that we are going to share was a 2018 statistical figures used from ITU figures and then World Bank figures. One will ask, how would ITU get the figures? ITU get the figures shared by various administrations, Ghana inclusive. And so if the figures are not right, they will churn out what is also what they have received. It calls for proactiveness. And so we have the methodology of determining the cheapest handset-based mobile prepaid plan, providing at least 1 GB of broadband data over 30-day period from the largest network operator in each of the 60 countries that were surveyed. And so the affordability target has been defined as 1 for 2 affordability targets, meaning that for the income, 1 GB of data should be about 2% or less of the average monthly income. It used to be 1 to 5. It has been revised. It means that it's not going to be very static, and as we improve, we will continue to revise it. This definition postulated by FRI has been accepted by ECOWAS, has been accepted by the African Union, and indeed the Broadband Commission, which is also ensuring that we have adequate broadband facility. And no less a country like Ghana's Ministry of Communication has also endorsed the 1 for 2 affordability target. I just brought these statistical figures to show that if you look at the GNI per capita 2017, which data came in 2018, if we are talking about going below 2% of GNP, then we saw some countries going through. These are the first five. Then when you go again, the 11 to 15, all of them, you can see them 1.37. Then here, Ghana is 32, right? 3.35. It means we're not there yet. And so, what should be the situation? And Rwanda is somewhere there, but there are some also at the lower bracket here, as huge as 32 and the rest. This is the statistical depiction indicating what is the situation in Africa. Of course, we can see a decrease in the cost, but we are nowhere near the below 2% that we are looking for. When you go to Asia, the relative average is below. But there's some work to be done. And so we're looking at how we can achieve this target. In Africa, this is a summary of it. Online population is about 18%, mobile broadband penetration is about 23%, internet user gap. The gender aspect is very important. Gender gap is 34%. And when we come to Ghana, with a population of 20, with GNI per capita of 1,490, 1 gigabyte of megabyte of prepaid is around 3.56, as we saw in the chart that I gave you. Online population is about 8%, mobile broadband. Mobile broadband penetration 33%. The gender gap is very high in Ghana, and this is also another issue that we have to contend with. And so all these documents that I've shared with you can be found if you visit this site, and I'm sure the organizers will make it available. And it falls within the annual ADI ranking. This is an aspect of it. The cost aspect is an aspect of the ADI ranking. For the ADI ranking, this year Ghana achieved a better position, coming down 20 out of the 20 out of the 61 countries surveyed. And you could see that it measures our ability to have access to infrastructure, and our general ADI score was 58.08. You can explore the site and do a lot of analysis. And so, what were the recommendations that came out of the Ghana studies? I think my colleague from the chamber has mentioned a few of them. When we go into the panel, some of them will come up. Regulatory environment needs to be harmonized. Broadband strategy, we need to review it. Universal access, we need to expand the digital inclusion program to ensure that there will be affordability of services in the hinterland. Infrastructure sharing, this is one of the landmark activity of A4I. We carried a study in Ghana, and we were able to come out with a very comprehensive document on infrastructure sharing. All we had was must sharing, but the document has received attention of both Ministry and NCA, and they are paying attention to spectrum management. My colleague mentioned closing the gender gap is very key, and here I must say that we are contending that all these submissions have been made to the Ministry of Communication, and as we expect the new digital policy development, we hope that these issues will be handled in the new policy document that will be developed. Join A4I Ghana. We have about 4 thematic groups, all online. The Consumer Advocacy and Transparency Group, we surveyed over 6,000 consumer experiences and shared the experiences with NCA to impact on relationship with the operators. For instance, some of you might not be familiar with how your data consumption is captured on your phone. These are some of the things that have been shared. Taxation group, and our esteemed brother Derek is the champion for the taxation group. He mentioned it. They have achieved a lot. They review the impact of taxes on ICT products so that at least they will be affordable to the consuming public, and raising this awareness with the government sector, Ministry of Finance, Communication, and the rest. We also have a research and data collection group. This group is also, Kwaku is a member, now is domiciled at the Finance Center here, because we want to expand the scope of research based on their interest in research. They've come out with an infograph of the research repository, the research group. Where should the information be found? We need that in a concerted effort. So they come out with that. Again, one issue that they are fighting for is to ensure that we have at least 2 questions in the National Population Census pertaining to affordability and ICT. And that is a very key thing that the infrastructure open access group, which is working on the infrastructure sharing aspect. They've also come out and given the document also to the relevant areas. All the thematic groups, I must say, they work towards affordability of internet, and the notable gender-based activity taken by the group is the hosting of the 2006 and 2008 Technology Forum for Girls and Women in ICT in Accra here. Thank you. A lot on A4I and join the Ghana Coalition. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much. I like this. You had a very detailed thing and be able to do it in such a short time. Shall I give another round of applause? We want to go straight to our panel. We want to invite our first presenter, Mr. Laryea, to come onto the stage. We want to invite Dr. Ofosu also to go there. Mr. Kwame Antwi is not around. It's you. You are with Microsoft. Okay. I'm in trouble because I didn't know about this presentation. Then Mr. Kwame Baah-Acheamfuor for NCA. Yes, so can you please come on stage? Okay. Oh, sorry, just a second. CR 19117. I believe you are parked at the wrong place. Somebody needs to get out of here. Please, can you move your car now?
Hello and good morning, everybody. I'd just like to be brief and also make Microsoft's contribution towards connecting the unconnected. All right, so we'll just be looking briefly at the connectivity challenge. I believe some of us have highlighted it already. We want to look at options available in connecting the unconnected in terms of technologies, and also spectrum options available and the policy inputs. So I believe we all have heard now about the need for us to improve our livelihoods, okay? So the UN has come up with the 17 global goals, in which also encompasses us in using technology to be able to transcend our lives and also improve ourselves, okay? Right, so I believe we're all here because the theme we are talking about is about connectivity. And connectivity in terms of internet connectivity, in terms of digital connectivity, being able to use the internet enhances our lives. I believe if I were to ask anybody here without a cell phone or internet connectivity, I'll get less than 0.0001% here. We all know the importance of connectivity and information. Something just went viral on the internet just a while ago about a very important person. You can Google it and search and see. Anyway, so we all know that access to information and connectivity is very important. And like we said, almost more than half of the people on the earth are unconnected to the internet. So in Africa, as in other parts of the world, most people are also unconnected to the internet. But the most probable ways we are looking, or the most persons we want to also bring online, are those in our rural areas, because very often it's financially unsound for some of our network operators to go there because they have to make a return on investments. Okay, so this is the information for Research ICT Africa, and it shows the kind of connectivity gap where it sits in Ghana in terms of the rural areas. So this statistic is quite interesting because in Ghana we really collect, the regulator usually collects information on subscriptions. But very often we also know that sometimes the subscriptions are only on the people who are subscribed. But when we try to look at a bigger picture, there are a lot more than 24% who are connected to the internet in Ghana. And because of what we call the substitution effect, because mobile is the main connection needs, it has kind of overridden the main original connection needs. So you would have some people who would have, I mean, if we were to ask the question again in this room, how many of us have more than one cell phone or a cell phone subscription? We have more than a handful of us here. So we just need to make more efforts in connecting people to the internet. What I like to talk about briefly is about TV white spaces. And this is a technology that Microsoft has been pioneering and we've been pushing for. And other members of our Dynamic Spectrum Alliance are also pushing for. Well, what it is that we are using unused spaces within the television bandwidth. You know, because originally when TV stations channel spectrum was organized, you give spaces in the television bandwidth so that you can be able to accommodate for interference. And due to technological innovation, okay, and improvements, we're able to use some of these channels to transmit internet signals. All right. So delivering broadband based on this internet technology is something which has been found to be, one, cost-effective, two, also kind of move and pass through the kind of natural inhibitors such as geographical locations, okay, and other problems that we'll be facing with other delivery. So what are we talking about here? We are talking about that to be able to connect almost everybody, we need to open our minds to the availability of other technologies. Okay? So the TV white space is really, as I said earlier ago, we're talking about longer range and greater coverage. Okay? We're talking about greater obstacle penetration, so you'll be able to transmit from a database. You have a base station, you operate like the normal base station. You have a database, and it connects to it, and you're able to have online sites of penetration. There are various standards which have been used and which have been standardized by the ITU and the Dynamic Spectrum Alliance, which is now being used by other countries. So how does it work? The TV White Space creates a database. The database replies to a list. The base station shares the information and the client. So you receive the information and you're able to access the internet. I'm just trying to be brief here because of time. So it's working. It works. It's been used in other countries. Various ways of communication. There are various cases we can look about. In the US, in the state of Virginia, in 2 counties, this is used in terms of education, in which you're able to access information by what we call the homework database, which is homework information education in the cloud, where students in these counties, which are rural areas, okay, these rural scattered areas, where they're able to access this information. There are over 1,000 homes who are able to access this. It's also being used in Colombia, the coffee growing region. If some of us are familiar, Colombia had a long civil war for a time, and after the civil war, coffee growers are now able to access remote locations of the country. TV White Space is being used there. And so, I mean, this technology, when really managed well, and in terms of our management, we're talking about policy options and also interest from our policy regulators to be able to open up options. And this helps us in connecting non-connected people, especially in the rural areas, because if we are talking about connecting the next billion, it's not just our concentration. I believe we also saw the map from the Telecoms chamber in terms of the 2G, 3G, and 4G. So it looked like as if when we are improving the internet technology and the higher spectrum, the broadband availability, it's like it becomes less people are being connected to them, but we need to bring people on board. So having realized this opportunity, Ghana now, thanks to the NCA, we've now passed our guidelines. So Ghana is on board. So in our rural connectivity, we're able to use this. And this is a great opportunity for us to be able to use this kind of models. And this, basically, our government regulators have a key role in realizing this full potential. And we need to be more open to technologies like TV White Spaces. Thank you.
Can you give him a wonderful hand? He's done so well. I mean, the applause is so much. And I'll ask again my presenters to come forward. You know, once I hear the word Microsoft, I have to mention Linux. But at the same time, he mentioned the technology. He didn't really mention his, the software is coming from. Because the free and open source software also gives you the opportunity to bring in devices which are much cheaper. The telecom chamber people are here. I believe the equipment costs tens of thousands of dollars. But if you are using equipment from software-defined radios, you are going to the thousands of dollars space. But let's move straight on to our discussion for today. And we are talking about, our topic is connecting and enabling the next billion. That's our topic for now. And you notice that, who's the one? Hey, sorry. Wow. Miss Evelyn Shaline, president of Marshall's University. You need a lady up here. We have been accused of not being gender balanced. So maybe I'll start with her. No, we don't do that. I have a gender advocate here, and we've been working together. So thank you very much. Yeah, so our topic, like I said, is about connecting and enabling the next billion. That's what we are looking at now. And we've been given such a wonderful background. I'm not sure where we take it from there. But the first thing would have been to ask ourselves, what's this whole idea of digital inclusion? Okay, but I think we've gone beyond there after all that the various speakers have said. Somebody has said that, or it was given to us, that digital inclusion is leveraging the power of the internet to bring social and economic change. That's what we are thinking about. And we've heard so many different things from our various speakers. And so I think they perhaps can address that issue whilst they look at accessibility, which I believe they talked about when they were speaking, about how you're going to leverage the power of the internet to bring social and economic change. And of course, I'll start with Ms. Eva. I'll start with Eva. Sorry.
Okay, thank you so much. I am representing the academia, so I think I'll start with what Rwanda has done recently And so that is a major achievement. I think we all know about the satellite they launched to connect the remote rural schools in Rwanda. So when you see the presentation made by Affordable Internet Rep, Rwanda was behind Ghana. So where are we, as a country? So I think we have to start thinking about it, because as academicians, if you go to NAB website right now, 218 universities, that means public, private, polytechnic, tertiary, everybody, if you foreign universities, everything together is 218 of us, okay? So I think we use the internet more, and we require internet more. And so in that case, if you talk to any of our students, they will tell that most often they like to go to the universities which offer them free Wi-Fi. Why? Because they can connect. Yes, it's true. Every time you see students hanging around because they can connect to the internet, what are they looking for? They're looking for information. Nowadays, when we are talking about global village and we are just going to do everything through IT, then it becomes it makes it more easier for students, lecturers, staff, everybody to connect to the internet at very easy cost. And I think I would start with the Rwandan advancement, and I think I would let the rest of my panelists speak, and then I'll come back. Thank you.
Right, thank you. Good afternoon to everyone. With the NCA, so policy and regulations with digital inclusion, how we benefit economically and socially. So just as presented by the chamber, there's good coverage of internet over our country. And you saw that the 3G coverage is quite good, and that gives us about 1 megabits per second. So it is a regulatory requirement on all operators that they have to deliver, which makes it such essential that for government businesses at district levels, for private businesses at district levels, economics can be better off. People need not travel beyond their districts to have access to internet. Beyond that, we also have the programs of GIFIC, which in the last couple of years alone has provided over 300 sites. 300 sites, you may see it as little, but I can tell you 10 years back, Ghana Telecom had half of that to provide mobile communications to Ghanaians. So that alone shows you the bit of coverage of the internet that is being given to people. Beyond this of access is the issue of how do people use the computers or their phones. There was a mention of digital illiteracy, but if you have a video, you don't need to be illiterate to use the internet for a video. It is not all about text. So where we come in as a country, and Professor Kwaku said that, it's not for us to be a market for somebody else. What about we being a supplier? How are the youth taking part in the space of providing content that will be locally patronized? Because when we hear from the Affordable Internet, they were talking about Ghana having mobile broadband coverage of about less than 40%. And then Microsoft is saying the people to be connected are 24%, which is more like a little number. But for us as regulators, we are seeing something beyond that, because our population is somewhere around 30 million or 25 million. And for 3G subscription alone, we are hitting 30 million. So yes, people talk about multiple devices, but let's look at how are we as a country or people playing in that space? Are we enabling services like digital financial services? Are we playing in the space of the health sector? Are we playing in the space of our agriculture? Are we playing in the space of our industry such that our businesses, our SMEs are using digital technologies? This is the questions that we have to ask ourselves that will give us economic benefits rather than being a market where the saviors come to service us and then our economics are affected. Thank you.
So just a second. I'm going to pass the mic. I needed to invite Madam Ethel Mensah from the Energy Commission. Is that right? So can we welcome her with a round of applause? There's one thing that if you don't have, you can't do the internet or mobile phone or what? What is that? Electricity. So hopefully we will hear from her on that one. Time is gone. They want me to stop very soon. So please, if you pass more than 2 minutes and I stop you, I hope you indulge me. But my question is more specific. Leveraging the internet for social and economic development. And I want you to tell me what you are doing. I hope you are with me. I know the other person is a problem. If I'm in the public sector, then I think the private sector should do something. If I'm in the private sector, I think the public sector should do something. I hope you are with me. So please tell me what you are going to do. Are you all with me? So let's listen to them carefully. The youth want the jobs. They want the things to happen. So please tell me what you are going to do. Thank you.
Thank you for that contribution. So you don't realize in the presentation, we spoke about the use of the TV white spaces technology. And what I didn't get time to do present was what is already happening and what we are already doing with it. Okay, so basically, I think my colleague here from NCA talked about some work being done by the Universal Access Fund in taking internet to the communities. We from our perspective, we see having access to the internet, but also applying to what we are doing in our lives. So I highlighted aspects of what we're doing in Colombia with the coffee growers, but also in the US countries about the homework. But there are also other options in terms of healthcare and telemedicine, which is happening in Tanzania, where we have some remote places where they are using internet access to be able to also, what's the word again, to be able to assess health and check and also transmit information. So where you have doctors who are not readily available, we're using the technology itself by teamwork with the very remote areas to be able to apply to our health, now agriculture, health, and education. So it's not just about connecting the next billion, but also having access to the technology and being able to use it for our own livelihoods, so we can kind of have a feel of it, you know. And in other aspects, we also see that also happening here in Ghana, and where we're also talking about not just connecting the communities, but they being also able to utilize the technologies for their own livelihoods.
Thank you very much. And now we are coming to the private sector people. I don't know whether they'll agree with me. They are the ones making all the money in the space. So still, leveraging the internet for social and economic development. The youth were here. We talk about digital jobs. Is there anything you guys are doing about it? And I thought the picture for 2G looked good, even though it's ancient. I saw a whole gap. Is that a front place that we are not covering or something when I saw the picture out there? But what exactly are you doing? And remember, we are 30 million people now. We are 100,000 students in the universities. You say 200. I thought it was 100. And this thing. So what's happening on that space? Thank you.
Okay, just not to sound like a broken record, I think a lot has been said already. And thankfully, Kwame made mention of the fact that we are sharing numbers, but I think that the point there was I didn't really specify what the numbers were. I only tried to show you in graphical terms what the connectivity status looked like. But in terms of penetration, yes, we'll say over 30-something million people have been connected in terms of penetration. But when you come to unique, i.e., singular, when you're looking at it from a singular perspective, because right now I'm sitting here, but I'm connected to 4 devices. So I'm counted as 4, but I'm one human being. So unique terms, I'm sure we should be doing about 70. So I don't really debunk it's a 20-something% figure as well. But I showed that beyond just connecting, that we are enabling. So pretty much I shared what we're doing with mobile financial services, M-Health, I shared M-Agric stuff. So you're seeing stuff in that area as well. But if I want to be blunt and raw, I would have said that on the, because a lot of young people here, but pretty much a lot of jobs have been created, but they keep on evolving. And I believe right now we're hearing, even yesterday, Fidelity Bank opened a branch, basically like a digital bank branch i.e. no human beings in there, probably maybe just a few, 2 or 3 guys at the back end checking on systems. But that's really what it is right now. So I think that one of the things I like to say is that if you're here and you're looking out for a job for the next 5 years, and you want to play in the IT space, you should be looking around things, new technologies, you should be looking around things in relation to all these augmented reality and IoT and all these machine learning conversations that are coming out from advanced economies. Because, you know, a couple of months ago, I understand Google was wanted to open a lab here, and then they were asking for machine learning experts. They wanted to hire 4 people. I looked at it like this online, and then I turned to a different page. But if you had known some time back, obviously you have studied in that area, and I think that that's one critical key that I'd like to share with the young people here. Yeah.
Okay, and so again, I'm sure you are talking about the data area, you know, with the NCA talking about where the figures are coming from. You can tell us perhaps more details. Still looking at our young people leveraging it for social and economic. Are there some specific things? I mean, I'd love to hear about IoT. Our IoT guys are here, but they are finding it very difficult. Is it that they are not relating well with either with the regulator or with the industry? Maybe that's part of the problem. I'm not too sure. But anyway, you have the data for us, I believe.
Right. First of all, I'll touch on 3 things and then quickly come to your point. Number one is that when we're talking about access from IFRI perspective, we're talking about access that will be affordable. And so, in looking at our definition of access, we also look at the gender disparity, and it's very key. And we are saying that when we consider access, we must also consider the issue about gender disparity. On the issue of quality of data, during my presentation, I indicated the source. That was very key. The source is IT. And this is the more reason why, if our data is not agreeing, it means that there's something not going on well in our own data capturing system in the country. So what FRI is doing is that it has now positioned the data research unit at Kofi ICT Center here so that it can have the leverage to collaborate. I must say that NCA had helped even in developing the infograph of where all the data set is, including the SCAR service. But we still lack adequate data to position ourselves at the international level. Maybe even our performance could have been better, but because of data disparity here and there. Now, to the youth, I think there is every opportunity for the youth to develop their skill sets, to get into the new regime of IT utilization. My colleague talked about machine learning, data mining. We are in the era of artificial intelligence, and if you cannot churn data and use the data, I mean, we would be lacking innovation. It is an opportunity for the youth to benchmark all the practices. I think we were told by Kofi ICT Center that they are developing robust platforms for innovation. Let us take advantage of the spirit of ICT for innovation and not for playing social media games and the rest. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So let's turn to the energy side and see what they have to tell us is going to happen so that all over we can get electricity to help us with this, with leveraging the internet for social and economic work.
The moderator, I think you introduced my session. As I sat back there and said, oh, the people had forgotten me. It's just a scenario of what is going on with connectivity and energy. A lot of times we take for granted the fact that energy, I mean, without energy, you cannot power any of the things we're talking about, right? We are like, hello, where is the energy to do all the wonderful things you are doing? So for us in the energy sector, I guess our role is to ensure there is accessible, reliable energy all the time. And I think we have done very well. Currently, our national access rate is 85%. The rural rate is about 93%, sorry, 71%, and the urban rate is about 93%. So as I sat back there, he said that the people who are not connected are about 25%. I was like, wow, that's just about the gap in the rural sector. Because the reality is that We have tried to get energy across the country, but there are some places which are almost impracticable to stretch access to the grid. And these are the island communities. So the policy of government is to get rural technologies, renewable energy technologies to those areas, solar, wind, and all that. So there is the issue of costs for these renewable energies. But I think we have opportunities, especially for the youth, and to develop, to be innovative in getting energy access to the rural areas such that they can get access to the internet. And I wanted us all to, how many of us have Android phones? You have Play Store here. If you can try something out. I mean, when we said, what are we doing in our sectors? The Energy Commission, we have quite a number of apps on the internet that we try to enhance the consumer experience. And we are trying to reduce your costs. So, for instance, we have the Certified Appliance app. If you went on Google Play Store right now and searched for the Certified Appliance app, it would come up. It's an app that allows you to make decisions on the kind of energy appliances you use, such that you reduce your cost of consumption. So, for instance, for now we have the refrigerator and then air conditioners. You can go there and type which model you want. Is it Samsung? Is it NASCO? Is it LG? And it will come up with a number of options. What it is that they are star rated. We have what we call the labeling regime, where we have rated all the appliances. The more the stars on the appliance you choose, the more efficient it is. So that you want to choose a 5-star appliance so that your energy cost will come down. So I wanted us to try this out. But the message from there is to the youth that there are these opportunities in the sector to develop such apps. Of course, we need the energy. But once there are some areas connected to the energy, what are you doing to make yourself useful? Don't let us use the internet connectivity only for social media videos and all. Let us use them for productive uses that can enhance all of our experiences with the energy.
Thank you very much. And we've heard things about what? Is it machine learning? I'm sure some people don't know what augmented reality is about, and so on. My problem is that perhaps the universities are not teaching us, so maybe we've got somebody to tell us a little something on that one.
Actually, that's my specialization, augmented reality. I've been promoting it in all the conferences where I go because it makes it very easy for learning, So I've been, recently we had a conference in ACM and I have been to Asante, and everywhere I keep promoting augmented reality for education, because in our schools where children have not seen many of the things, it will be quite easy for us to use augmented reality to just incorporate those things which they would never see, in reality, to just visualize it. And I think you guys should have heard about Raspberry Pi, right? So sometimes we don't need live internet online. You can just be offline, but you can just have this small device which you can program to tune yourself. So I think you should take the advice of the panelists by just researching on things which could advance, our communities. And so, as Derek said, if you don't know machine learning, if you don't know IoT, if you don't know cloud computing, and I bet you very soon you'll be down the lane searching for jobs, and you wouldn't be there. Now, try to incorporate the final year projects. Don't just think of projects where you're just typing pages and pages of stuff. No, please try to incorporate how you can assist communities where you are coming from. Maybe there's a waste distribution management. Okay, so now start thinking about how can I effectively use waste management app, like how Mom said, it was very appealing for me. Like, we know so many things now we have in apps. So all that you do is just download the app, and then so now your work is to make sure that you create such apps. Find out, Google, and find out from other countries what they are doing, and then how we can also incorporate it to suit our country. That is, I think I've been here 15 years, so I just said our country, although I've been here. So I hope you'll accept it. So that is what I would like to say.
Thank you very much. I'm told time is up, but maybe somebody from the audience wants to say something or ask a question. You've been dazed by the panelists, so nobody has anything for them. You've been dazed by the panelists. Okay. Question here, okay.
It's to the energy, the representative from there. Yeah, I recently heard about the fact that PDS or I don't know, ECG now is trying to incorporate that of fiber optics. I wanted to know more about that. I don't know.
I am actually from the regulator. I have no idea what you are talking about. But yes, you may find out, and I think it would be a wonderful thing.
Okay, I hear you can answer that one.
Right, thank you. That's something that we've read. This is something that governments, I would say past governments, have pursued at the energy sector, with collaborating with the telecom sector, beyond what they will contribute to now as offering their distribution lines, just as Grico has done for fiber cables. There was also the opportunity of having smart grids, using their distribution cables as smart grids, and also they also being pro-technology, where they can sit in their offices and be knowing that your prepaid is running out, so they could send you a notice on your phone that your home prepaid is running out, so buy something before you get home and all that. But once I have the microphone, time is up.
Okay, so
I want to address,
this is your final comment.
I want to address some of the issues which needs to be addressed, which were raised here. So when it comes to policy, we care about everybody, from the consumer and the supplier side. For us as a regulator, we start in between. So for frequencies and the use of spectrum and the use of technologies, we are as open as everything. Microsoft wants to pursue TV white spaces. You see that in Africa, we are among the first. We may have our own knowledge about it, and that's why we produce a guideline. And then the telecom chamber, they have their own preference of technologies that they want. So you as a young man, as Microsoft presented, there's a big spectrum there. There are even spectrum which is for unlicensed. You can just come and say, I want to start a network. And that will be available to you at zero or no charge. So that is there. The other part of sharing infrastructure needs to be more of industry driven. Again, for us as regulator, we have the opportunities of knowing what technologies are coming. Now there's what is going to be called compute or network computing networks, which is looking at 2030 networks. So we have had 5G now, but we are looking at 2030 networks. This is the time that we have to get involved in. AI is being used, and we are not using it here, even on these premises, because when you are coming in, it's not telling you how many parking spaces are available. Somebody has to take this up. It is not an opportunity for a regulator, but for a supplier, which could be among you. So thank you. There are so many things with what is existing now, but we have to play rather than waiting for somebody from elsewhere to come and supply us to our market. Thank you.
So I'm told that our time is up, but the last three speakers were able to say their own thing. We have not been able to say too much about content, because content is another issue. When you go online, can you get the content that you need, or is everything from outside? What I'm hearing from the last speaker is that they are open to all kinds of technology, emerging technologies. Unfortunately, my representative from Microsoft didn't tell me that they've allowed you already, so that you don't have a problem. Because sometimes I know that when you go to the regulator, it's not easy, but here I'm hearing it is okay. So we'll take it that way. Again, I know that there are technological and organizational innovations which can help us to do this thing. On my open source side, remember I'm talking about software-defined radio. So the radio you have is defined by the software you have. The radio can cover any set, can cover unlicensed spectrums, it can cover licensed spectrum. Depends on the software that you have to use it for whatever you want to use it. But that's another long story. And then again, I understand that another area to do is like small-scale commercial. The telecom chamber represents the big guys, as far as I know it. But I could be a small guy also in the system. And as well as community network operators. And the NCA is letting me hear that we're also part of the game. Sometimes I know community radio guys suffer, but he's telling me that they are opening the game. So that's it. So we have our last 3 speakers, and hopefully we'll bring it to the end. And I hope that you've all enjoyed the session.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, Michael, like you rightly put it, I presented them. The NCA has allowed TV-wide spaces to operate in Ghana, and they've issued the guidelines. So not just TV-wide spaces, but they are available technologies. But what I really was speaking about was the rural connectivity and bringing everybody on board. We're talking about various business models. Our young persons had their IGF yesterday. You can be able to set up, as Kwame said from the NCA, community networks, and these community networks can be training sessions and also volunteer kind of activities to train people and bring people online. Because having access, and you talked about content, we can develop a lot of things within our own sphere and also help ourselves. We at Microsoft have been collaborating with the Internet Society on global and also in Ghana. And these are other voluntary or social institutions in which you can also collaborate with and work with and help everybody connect and be online. Thank you.
Okay, just a couple of, a lot has been said as well. I like the comment from the lady from Energy Commission, but I was interested when you said that you have apps, and I also wanted to ask you, how do the apps work on the phone? But anyway, that's just by the corner. But just to touch base a bit from where Kwame landed, I am equally interested in this TPY spaces technology. I think that it will really work for last mile, rural, and I think that my only concern with TPY spaces is that most of the trials we've seen has been in commercially viable areas, i.e. it's been in within the gold circles of the industry, and that doesn't fit within the ethos for which the TVY spaces objective is seeking. So I don't mind if it's rural, because we all want to reach the last mile. We only have concerns or issues if it becomes it plays within the areas where we play and we raise revenue, because unless they are paying $30 million for the spectrum that they are asking for, that's just by the way. But beyond that, I think that there's really a lot that needs to be done. Kwame, you can't get the mic again. There's really a lot that needs to be done as an industry, and I believe that each and every one of us are well positioned and we have what it takes to be able to reach the customer. But finally, since the Energy Commission is here, I have been bringing a proposal to have us build a solar system for the north, so that we could get off grid in the north, and then you could balance us back down here. But it looks like the proposal is hanging. So, Madam, since you are here, I've raised it. Thank you.
So a quick one, just to sum up, I think the greatest challenge we have as a country is our inability to review our curricula on ICT. And I think we have educationists on the panel. I think the suggestion that should go from this workshop is that our Minister of Education should review the curricula to enable our youth take much more interest in data science, machine learning, so that we can race into the innovation world. We can have all the connectivity, we can have all the affordability measures put in, but what do we use the connectivity for? We rely on the youth to be very innovative, and the challenge is for us to build that capacity in our educational system. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Derek Laryea, Dr. Ofosu, Mr. Kwaku, Mr. Kwame Baah-Acheamfuor, and Ms. Eva, Shaline, and Madam Ethel Mensah, thank you so very much. I think these are the key issues, but really there's no time. That's a big thank you.